The first woman Supreme Court Justice, Sandra Day O'Connor, fought to eliminate the obstacles before having an abortion and argued for more rights for women in the Planned Parenthood v. Casey case of 1992. Her important vote helped win the case for legal and safe abortion rights. O'Connor's leadership defended women's legal right to have an abortion and protected their rights to making their own medical decisions. In 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was passed, giving women full rights and responsibilities of citizenship, but women were still treated differently. There had been many women's rights activists in the years before O'Connor's time, like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Sandra Day O'Connor was one of the many people who would take a stand to show how women really mattered and they can do jobs that men can do. Sandra fought for what she believed in. O'Connor worked hard and excelled to make herself stand out from the crowd. Sandra Day was born on March 26, 1930, in El Paso, Texas. She grew up on a ranch called Lazy Bee, founded by Sandra's grandfather, Henry Clay Day. Sandra's father, Harry Day, was a lawyer, so she grew up with law all around her. Sandra Day had been a hard worker all her life. Her parents thought homeschooling wasn't enough for Sandra, so they sent her to a private school called Radford. A few years later, Sandra Day graduated from Austin High School at the age of 16. Sandra Day graduated college at Stanford University in 1950 and received a bachelor's degree in economics. Sandra Day attended law school also at Stanford University in 1952. On December 20th, 1952, Sandra Day married another lawyer named John O'Connor. Sandra was now called Sandra Day O'Connor. In the years to come, Sandra and her husband had 3 sons named Scott, Brian, and Jay. Sandra Day O'Connor was appointed as the state senator of Arizona in 1969. The president at the time, Ronald Reagan, promised a woman would be on the United States Supreme Court by the time his presidential term ended. He was looking for a strong, smart, and a hard-working female to be the leader on the court. Sandra Day O'Connor was that woman.
In 1973, a case called Roe v. Wade was passed, giving women the right to an abortion.
And the evidence you give in this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do so.
Are almost certain to be the first woman justice in the history of the U.S. Supreme Court, talks about abortion and judicial philosophy.
The subject of abortion is a valid one in my view.
The Roe v. Wade case led to another abortion case called the Planned Parenthood v. Casey case. Women were trying to overcome the struggles and get rid of the obstacles stopping them from having an abortion. Sandra Day O'Connor was appointed as a justice on the United States Supreme Court by Ronald Reagan on September 25, 1981. O'Connor became the first woman Supreme Court justice. After the Roe v. Wade case of 1973, there were national debates on whether women should be able to have an abortion. Some thought it was the mother's choice, but others thought an abortion was just killing babies. In 1992, O'Connor was a swing vote in the Planned Parenthood v. Casey case and helped win the right for an easy, safe, and legal abortion for women. Sandra Day O'Connor strived to keep the rights alive from the Roe v. Wade case.
Some people thought that O'Connor should not have a right to have that power because she is a woman. Most people were starting to look at Sandra Day O'Connor differently, but in a good way. Because O'Connor had such an important role, she showed women can be more than just a maid, a housewife, or a cook. People were euphoric that a woman was on the Supreme Court and had many important roles. Sandra showed bravery and courage by having major jobs with men. Sandra was one of the winning votes in the Planned Parenthood v. Casey case of 1992, giving women the right to an easy abortion. Women were fighting to have an equal impression with men, and O'Connor, being the first woman Supreme Court Justice, gave women more power. O'Connor resigned from the United States Supreme Court on January 31st, 2006, after serving 24 action-packed years on the court. Sandra Day O'Connor was also the swing vote in the court cases Miller v. Johnson in 1995, which is a case about abortion rights, the Stenberg v. Carhart in 2000 about gerrymandering, Selman v. Simmons-Harris case of 2002 about private school vouchers, Grutter v. Bollinger case of 2003 about racial preferences in admissions, and the court case McCreary County v. ACLU of Kentucky in 2005 about religious displays. O'Connor was known for taking her time and deeply thinking about the cases she was involved in. Because she took her time and examined both sides of the story, she was often the deciding or swing vote. Sandra Day O'Connor showed that women can do as much as men can if they want to. Women were starting to stand out and were not always looked at by their gender.
Sandra Day O'Connor was the first woman on the United States Supreme Court. O'Connor helped argue the right that women can have a legal and safe abortion with the help of a doctor. Sandra Day O'Connor fought for more women's choices in the court. In 2009, Sandra Day O'Connor received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama for her outstanding achievements and public services. Sandra Day O'Connor's husband, John O'Connor, died of Alzheimer's disease also in 2009. Sandra Day O'Connor is now in her 80s. Her legacy left the impression that women can do anything that they set their minds to. Sandra Day O'Connor once said, "The power I exert on the court depends on the power of my arguments, not on my gender."